editing now, but I'm sorry about the delay of this first one being posted. So this is 1st December, 4 p.m. Right, it's 4:03 right now. So, and look, it is currently exporting the video and I'm about to go to the yard. So this might be a little bit late. So if it is, I'm sorry about that, but I hope you enjoy it now that it's out. Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today is mine and Madge's 1 year anniversary, or whatever you want to call it. So I thought to kick Vlogmas off, we would do a little rundown of our whole entire journey over the whole entire year. So let's get into it. Alright, so we are starting from the very beginning of when I tried out Madge. So here we are, trying him out, just having a little walk around, getting used to him, and the main aim of this was just to get used to him and jump some decently sized stuff. So this was around 90, and that's the kind of height that I wanted to jump him, just to get used to him and make sure that I was comfortable on him, and I very much was. So we brought him home around a week or two later on the 1st of December 2024. So here he is meeting Dolly, and they are honestly just so cute together. I cannot get over how cute they are sometimes. But just meeting dolls, and yeah, he settled in really nicely. So once he settled in for a little bit, then we had a jump lesson on him a few days later, and look at him, he was still definitely not great together as we were getting used to each other, but he was such a good boy. And we also started to put him on the lunge and do this with the side reins to try and build up a little bit of muscle in the area of putting his head into this position. Then we decided after a couple of weeks that we were going to take him out to our first arena hire. So here we are at our first arena hire, and we're getting much closer to Christmas, so I have my Christmas hat on and he has some Christmas boots on. But we were definitely starting to get much better now, and then we decided after this that we were ready for our first competition. So around a week later after this, we went to our first competition. So we definitely weren't perfect, we definitely was still very new to each other, but we just wanted to get out and do some stuff. So we did the 70 and the 80, and he absolutely flew. He was really good, and as you can see, it's the same course as last time, but he was such a good boy, absolutely flying, and I was just so happy that we got through our first competition together, as he was just so good. Look at him, his knees are very cute too. And then we were going to do Vlogmas. So here we have got Christmas riding dares. I was very scared because I still did not trust him in any way or form. So here I was like, oh my goodness, what is he gonna do? Is he gonna, like, and then he started to pull his head down a little bit here when I was trying to stand up on him. I was like, oh my goodness. Is he gonna do something? Is he gonna do something? No, he didn't do anything. And then after this, we went to a, what's it called? It wasn't a competition, it was like a pony club rally Christmas thing, and we got a pole there because we were just going so fast right at it. So really it was mostly my fault, that pole. Like, I didn't help him get over it at all, but what am I saying? I don't know. But he was so good. And then Lex came over for a ride, and she had a little ride on him, so this was her first ride on Madge, and maybe actually, yeah, the first time meeting him as well. And then here is when we found out he loves arena eventing. This was a very wet competition though. As you can see, there's literal puddles in the arena, and it was so hard for him to jump, and he was just struggling to get out of the water because it was just so wet, and some of the jumps have been taken out because of how wet it really was that day. But yeah. And then here I used some spurs on him, and I ended up not actually using them because as you can see, I haven't got a very stable lower leg. But after that, we went to a pony club qualifier. This was for championships that were in March. This was in January, and it definitely wasn't our best round. So we were going to start a pole counter because this was pole number 1 that we got. And then we came and got another pole just there, and they were just dropping left, right and centre, honestly. So we got 2 poles and qualified through the team to go to Addington in March. But apart from those 2 poles, we were absolutely flying, and he was being such a good boy. And look at him coming down the bank here and then popping over that fence there. He was actually being so good, just unlucky pole unlucky 2 poles because we were still very much working out how to communicate with each other. And here we have one of our worst jump lessons because I was getting so left behind, but then we also started to get him into a contact when I was on him. So here is the beginning of working out how to do that, and he's quite a quick learner, but this was very hard to teach him. But after this, we had a arena renting competition booked in, but it got cancelled due to wind, so they gave us a voucher to hire out the arena. So here we are at the arena and absolutely flying some of these 90 combinations and making up some of our own even harder combos. So this was when I was like, I am absolutely ready for champs in March, because flying so many 90 combinations, and we were only doing 80 actually at championships. But look at him, he's absolutely flying, and really I was so happy with this day because we were still, this was when we really started to know and understand each other more. And then we decided to do our first 85 centimetre competition, and he was flying like normal. He was being such a good boy, and we got a nice clear round, and yeah. So we also started taking some more tight turns and starting to go to try and actually win a bit more, except we don't actually win that much, but just try and get into the rosettes by taking lots of different cool combos. So here he just got clipped and he was flying this day, and then we went to championships around a week after this. So here we are at champs and he was flying. This was one of our best rounds to date at that point because he was flying, honestly. It was such an amazing round and just a great feeling. And also when I finished the round, I looked back and I was like, wait a sec, we actually just got a clear round there. And I was so happy because I didn't know what had actually happened. All I'd realised was I got a clear round at championships, and that just made me so happy. So here we are after this one, coming straight up to the Joker fence, which was a quite big upright of a 90, and you can see me look back, and then I gave him a big pat after that. And then I found out that I actually won, and I came first individual and first team, and I could not believe it. I cried when I found out. It was crazy. So we did a little lap of honour back at our home after a few days with all our sashes and rosettes on, because we came first team and first individual. So then here we have some free jumping, and look at him flying this meter, and we have more free jumping coming up later on in Vlogmas, so keep an eye out. So here is the same jump from another perspective. We did around a meter this day, and he was flying, honestly. Such a good boy. And then we went to the gallops. So here we are going through some water after it, but I haven't got any videos of the actual galloping, but I do have a photo, so I will show that to you guys in a minute. But he was being such a good boy, and we just had so much fun just galloping around, and yeah. So he was so good. I'm going to start to lose my breath in a minute. But here we go. This was when we decided that I need to stop doing 70s and start doing 90s, because this was an 80, but the 70 was so small. So he actually flew these rounds so nicely, and we actually came around, I think, 3rd or 4th in both classes, qualifying for championships in October. So this is April time at this point, but we were doing lots of tight turns, and that is how we managed to qualify. And as you can see, here we are in action. And I'm starting to lose my breath again, trying to speak so fast. But this was for NSCA championships. Then we went to our first cross-country session. So here he is, just popping over a little ditch, actually no complaint or anything like that, and cantering down steps. I was very scared of cantering down steps actually, but he just made me so confident and popping over some really quite big stuff actually. And I was just so happy with him this day because he was just popping over so much stuff. Got a little bit excited there and popping over chicanas and, well, everything. He was just such a good boy. And then going up a step here and then to another jump. But I was just so happy with this day just because this was our first cross-country session in an open field rather than in an arena. So here we also go through some water and then up a small step to a wall kind of thing, I don't know, but he was such a good boy, And then I decided we were going to do a bareback jump lesson. I don't know why, I just did. So here I am doing a bareback jump lesson for a video, and also because I love bareback, so yeah, I'm a bit weird, but I did it. This was, I think, April? Yeah, this was April time, I think. So I don't know how I was in short sleeves. I don't know, I'm weird like that. Very weird. But he was such a good boy. And then here we have a saddle on, and we're starting to get into some bigger stuff now. So we're jumping more 90s and meters consistently rather than 90 a meter on occasion. So popping over some really quite big stuff. And then we went round our first 90 centimetre course. As you can see, pole down there, this was just a pony club rally, but we were in a arena which had a good course in, so we decided to try 9 centimetres for the first time. So there we go. Then cross country again, and we just getting used to this venue as it's one that we go to quite a lot for eventing, so we just need to get used to it so we could get used to some of the jumps and all of that, because we would be coming here quite often. Then I can't find my first 90 centimetre round, but this was my second, but I came first in my first 9 centimetres, which I was very proud of, and this was my second one. So here we are, and going completely clear, and he was such a good boy. And we also went clear in the, first 9 centimetres that we did. We did some really sharp turns, especially considering that this was only our second 9 centimetres, so I was still quite nervous, but I got so confident on him after clearing the first jump. So here we start to do some more bridleless, and we didn't do much after this, but that was a bit of bridleless. And then also here we go, starting to clear some bigger stuff. This was start of May now, I think we are at, and that was a really big quite jump actually, I think. Then here we did our first pony club 90 centimetres, so I was so scared because we had a not very good 80 and we turned too sharply and knocked straight through the jump. But here he was actually so good, absolutely flying, and this is probably one of, I don't know, I've done a few 90s since, but he was so good and I was just so happy with him this day because I wasn't feeling great, but he was so good. Then we started eventing, so got 34 in my dressage, and this is my show jumping where we went clear. Then we also went on to the cross country after this, but he was so good and I was just trying to get used to doing some eventing. So this was an 80 competition, so here we are out at cross country, and he was flying, but we did get 20 time penalties, which is a pretty big amount. So as you can see, he's going quite slowly. So here is a photo from it, but I was just so happy with him that day because we were just flying together. And here was our second event. I went to Spain in between this, but then we went to our second event, and he was doing so good, and we got a 32.2 in our dressage, which I was so happy don't know what I'm saying. And we qualified for NSCA 3-day champs, but that had steeplechase and that stuff in, and I don't really know anything about that because obviously I do this kind of eventing. So then we went into the show jumping and got another clear round as he was such a good boy and he was absolutely flying, going around these courses. This was 80 as well, and here we go, coming to another jump here, and I was so worried about him knocking all the uprights. I don't know why, to be honest, I just was, because he likes knocking uprights a bit more. Then we went on to the cross country where I had a stopwatch for the first time, and we actually got clear time with the 32 and clear jump. So with that 32.2 dressage and clear show jumping, that means that we came second. So here we are starting to practice a little bit more bridleless, and we were still definitely learning this quite a lot. And keep an eye out for a video coming up later in Vlogmas because it is a bit of a bridleless tutorial, I'm going to give you that. But here we are practicing a little bit of our bridleless, and then we went on, I think this is now, what was it? No, this is June maybe, I think now, and just doing some lovely jumps. And then we started to do a bit more groundwork here, and this was in preparation for the line up to the mountain block, which he can now do successfully. Then we went cross country again. This is a lot of cross country, and here he is flying some nice combinations and even a meter combo actually, which my instructor thought I was crazy for asking for. And here he is learning the emergency stop, which he's still learning as it takes a lot of learning to do. And then show jumping championships as well, and here he is looking like such a cute boy. And we also did eventing qualifiers for Pony Club, and we also did them and qualified. So there is the show jumping ones. Then here is camp, and I think, yeah, there we go, longest stride, tripped on landing, but I was just like, oh my goodness, it's the last day. He was getting so tired. I went round and did it one more time, and he cleared it perfectly, and he was such a good boy at camp. He was amazing. Then we went to another competition straight after camp. So he was quite tired by this point because we'd done show jumping champs, then camp, then another show jumping competition. So that's our first refusal that we got. This was now beginning of August. So that was our first refusal that we ever actually got. So then went round and did it again, because that was a very new jump in an arena that he'd been in so many times, and he was like, oh my goodness. So this is the 80, and we also did the 90 this day, which he flew, but we did get a pole down. And then here is the show jumping championships. So we did the first clear first and second round, so this is the second round, and then here's the jump off, and as you can see I asked for 2 but he went for a 3, and we also got 2 poles down the jump off, coming to 14th and out of around 100. And then we went to eventing championships the next day, and he got a 28.8 dressage test. This horse is not dressage in any way or form. I taught him how to go into a contact basically myself, as he wasn't very good at it. And here's our show jumping. We did actually end up getting 2 poles down due to the fact he was so tired from the day before, and obviously the dressage. So there is the first pole, and then I can't remember where we got the second one down actually, but here it is. There's the second pole. He just knocked it with his front feet. And then we went off to the cross country, where we weren't actually allowed to wear a stopwatch, so that resulted in us getting a good couple of time penalties. So here we are finishing the show jumping, and then here is the last few jumps of the cross country, but we did get clear jump, which is what I am very happy about. And he was flying, honestly. I felt so happy with him this day, and annoyingly with the voiceover we can't have the sound on, but I was like good boy after this. Like, it was so good, and I was just so happy that we got through, and we actually came second. So here we did horse versus human, chase me Charlie. This is that wasn't 1m25. I have a jump, so is it this one? It might be this one. I can't really tell. Yeah, it's this one. This is 1m20 to 1m25, and I was so impressed by that. And then here we did riding dares the day after as well, and we did I don't even know what the dare was, to be honest, but here we are just flying some random bits tackless. And here we decided to go cross country, and we're still very much getting used to bridleless at this point, so we kept the bridle on just in case. But here we are flying some stuff with just the neck strap. This was a bridle, but he was so good this day, and this was all in quite quick succession. These, like the horse versus human, chase and Charlie, riding dares, then cross country. So he was quite tired still, but he was flying. You can see also that's why I'm carrying a long whip, because that just makes it easier for both of us. So that is using the neck strap. And then we started to do some mounted archery. So this was our first ever session, and his first ever time doing it, and my first time doing it on a horse. And he was actually being so good, he was so unbothered by the fact that arrows were flying off him. Here I tried a bit of sitting trot, which I really I wasn't very good at. Then we get on to this is 70 pairs with me and my not so perfect ponies. That's a mouthful to say. Anyways, so we did the 70 pairs. Then I also did the 90 this day, but this was a 70. And here is the 90. So here we absolutely flew it. So we didn't we didn't get placed because of the time, but I wasn't focused on the time, I was more focused on the jumps, and he was flying this day. I keep saying he's flying, but he is. And here is the last last few jumps. So that was the second to last jump, and then here is the last jump, which we got a bit close into, but he just popped it and he was so good. Here we're doing a little bit of liberty and trying to get him into canter, which he didn't actually. I did manage, but I didn't manage to get it on video. And then here is a jump lesson that we had, and this is getting quite recent now, and here is when we really started to click a bit more, and he was just flying, especially over these wooden poles. I think he thought they might eat him, and I was asking my mum whether he was over jumping them, and she was like, I don't think so. And then I looked back at the video and I'm like, yes, he is, because it was this spread in particular here which he was over jumping loads. And she was like, no, he isn't. I'm like, yes, he definitely is, when I watched back the videos. And we decided to do another mounted archery session, which he was so good for, and I was definitely not the best, but we were still getting used to it. And he was just walking along casually, didn't have a care in the world. He was just being so good. Oh, losing my breath again. And here is Bicton. We're at Bicton, and this was a qualifier for the thing that I qualified back in April for in October. So this was the last qualifier, and we just decided to go to make a team up. So this is the 80, I think. I was so happy because I got 2 strides in the double there, which we really struggled with, as you can see from championships. I asked for a 2 and he went for a 3, and you can see we got a pole down there, but he was just jumping so nicely, and I was just so happy with him, because we got the 2 strides in the double, and he was just jumping really nicely in general. So I was just so happy. I was just like, oh yes, good boy. And what's this? This is, I don't know, what is it? I think it's just riding fun, to be honest, with Lex and Senna. So here I am popping over some stuff, course bridleless, and it was a speed challenge, so we were trying to do it as fast as physically possible. So me and Senna did it bridleless, and then Lex did it bitless on Madge. So he did this like many times, and here I am taking some of the tightest turns I could probably ever do bridleless. And here was our last practice before championships, just popping over some stuff. That was a 2-strider, and then I just did some bridleless at the end, losing my breath again. And this was one of our last rides before champs, and he had such a nice trot. And obviously this was show jumping champs. Here we are, show jumping championships at Addington, NSCA. So this was the 70 centimetres. He was going so nicely up until jump 8, which was that's jump 7, and then we went round to jump 8, and we just had a disagreement on the striding, I think, and he just went clattering straight through it, and I was like, I couldn't tell whether it was me or him, so I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. And you can't have the sound again, and you can't really hear it, but I was like, oh, I'm so sorry to him the whole way around the rest of it, because I was so worried that it was my fault. And then here, the next day, this was the 80 centimetres, and we don't have it on video, but one of the jumps I turned too tightly and actually missed it completely, but annoyingly we don't have that on video. But we do have the rest of the round. So here we are getting 2 strides in a double, again, so happy. So here we are going back to the jump, which I missed because I turned too tightly, but he was flying, and we're definitely getting better and better by the day, and a little trip there almost, but we're still doing some tight turns because at this point it was just a learning opportunity for us, just because there was no chance of us being placed in any way or form. What's the next video? Aha, bridleless. So here we are, and then he decided long stride. And I was like, oh my goodness, I was not ready for that. But he went and did a long stride. But we were just practicing some of our bridleless, and we've done a lot more recently, but we were doing lots of bridleless, and here I am. I don't know why I'm putting my hands in the air, to be honest. I don't even know what we were doing. But we did some around 80 centimetres, I would say the whole thing is, and here I am coming to this jump, which he took a bit of a long stride to, I think, but there wasn't really an option for a short stride, but I don't know why. I was just not expecting the long stride apparently. But just doing some practice of bridleless. What's this? Just the same video, another video going this way. I don't know why I'm holding my hand like that, to be honest. I didn't even have a whip in it, but he was being so good. What's the next video? Here is a bit of bridleless a week after, but with the same jumps, or something. Was it a week? I don't know if it was a week. I don't know. A couple of days afterwards, but we were just doing some nice turns, and yeah. I think this was, I was meant to have a bridleless jump lesson, but I ended up not having it. I can't wink because I haven't got a camera, but look out for Vlogmas, and there's some of the next Vlogmas episodes coming up. But here we are, just practicing our bridleless, and that filler has cows on, and we're doing some really quite tight turns for bridleless, and absolutely flying. And this was like a tricky combination because we went back on ourselves and then to that jump. And here was we needed 10 and just practice, and he got really close into that, and then did he get close into this one? No, that one he flew, and then we finally got a nice stride to it. This one's a bit glitchy, but got a nice stride to it finally, and then we did some more mounted archery. So this is getting up to really quite recently. This is November now, I think. So we were just doing some mounted archery, and this was a weird exercise, I don't really know, but we were just doing it. And then I decided that I wanted to take the bridle off and do it bridleless. So here we are doing some mounted archery bridleless, and although again can't have the sound, but everyone was just like completely silent, and it is so cool to just be bridleless, doing day-to-day stuff, day-to-day riding, but everyone, obviously it's a very uncommon thing, bridleless. And here we're getting much more recent now, so here we are popping a good double around a metre bridleless. Now this is what's it called, Aventus Challenge, and this we did 90, so we've made 90 my main height now, but we were absolutely flying this day, got a clear show jumping, and then we went onto the arena eventing, and he was flying, then he jumped into the water because I gave him a kick to make sure he stayed cantering. He was like, oh yes, let's jump into it. And that's the jump I'm really scared of. I don't know why, but we managed to clear it very nicely. And he was just flying. And then we have this trachena here, which was much bigger than it usually was. But he was so good, and I was just so happy because after you get over the first jump with him, it is just such a nice feeling because he just goes around the rounds so nicely. And then you can't really see it, but I'm giving him a pat down. And then this is just from yesterday, so this is from our lesson, and we were doing leg yielding, which in the walk he was quite good at. When we got into trot it was much harder, and he is, as you can see he's struggling a bit there. And then we moved on to raised poles, and we were doing some canter raised poles and on both directions, and then we moved it to a spread in the middle with the 2 uprights either side. So we went and did that. So this was from just yesterday, and he was absolutely flying. He was being so good. But yeah, so there we go, that is the spread from the other direction as well. Is there anything else? No, that is it. Alright, so there we go, that is the first Vlogmas episode finished, and our 1 year video of Madge. So this is the 1st of December, and it's just before the video is about to be posted, and I'm just about to export it once I put this video in. So I'll show you the date on the computer, but it is the 1st of December now, which means it is Madge's 1 year our 1 year anniversary, or whatever you want to call it. So I'm about to go up to the yard just after this and give him lots of cuddles. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed the first Vlogmas episode of December. They are coming every Monday and Friday until Christmas, and there will also be some extras coming up as well, because Monday and Friday means I've got predictable, and then I will also have some extras because I won't be able to stick to just doing them. So of course there will be a few more coming as well when we get closer and closer to Christmas. So I hope to see you in the next Vlogmas video. Don't know what I was saying there. I hope to see you in the next Vlogmas video, and I will see you then. Bye.